Let's talk about oxidative phosphorylation, the third step of the aerobic respiration process. So here, depends over here. So here again, so we've done the prep. The prep step allowed for us to do the Krebs cycle. And now the Krebs cycle has provided material that we use for the electron transport chain, which will then allow for us to do the final step, which is called chemiosmosis. We tend to ignore this term, but it's its own step. Okay, so the Krebs collects the electrons, send them over to the ETC, which uses the electrons to create a proton gradient, which is used to drive chemiosmosis. All right, so let's go through here. Let's start here at the ETC. So I'm going to draw for you again the mitochondria. So the mitochondria, just in a very sketchy way here, has two membranes. It's a double membrane organelle, which the shell is called cristae and matrix. And so now we're going to focus on this part here, this part. The membranes, the matrix, and the intramembranous space. So let's draw that. Oops. Sorry, so here is your outer membrane, outer mitochondrial membrane. This is the inner membrane. In here, this space in here is your intramembranous space, and down here is the mitochondrial matrix. So two compartments. All right. So now let's add some more players here. So attached to the inner membrane, you have these called enzyme complexes. Complex 1, complex 2, complex 3, complex 4, complex 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So when the NADH and FADH2 bring over their electrons, okay, remember the electrons are brought over in the form of hydrogen. So the H's come in. The H's will be separated into electrons and protons. The protons will be sent into the matrix. That's where they go. While electrons will be sent down the ETC, where they will go from one complex to another, to another, to another. And as they pass from one complex to another, they leave energy. They energize the complexes, and eventually the fourth complex will donate its electrons to oxygen. So here, 2 electrons from the complex will combine with oxygen plus 2 protons from the matrix, and that will form water. It's called metabolic water. And the whole point of breathing is to provide for your mitochondria oxygen to receive the electrons. So it's called, oxygen is called your final electron acceptor, because it goes from complex 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and then to oxygen. Without oxygen here, this can't happen. This is why you die without oxygen, because the mitochondria fail. Can't work because you need oxygen there to collect the electrons as they come off the ETC. okay, to form what we call your metabolic water there. All right, now let's step back a little bit. So when the enzymes when the electron donors come in, your your NADH plus H plus will come in. It will donate its electrons to complex 1. Okay, donate it there, and then leave as NAD plus. Again, I could change my mind. It's NAD plus. Okay, and then your marker, another color. Your FAD will donate. FADH2 will donate to complex 2 and leave as FAD. So that's where they drop off the electrons. Then the electrons will proceed down the electron transport chain, and eventually they will get combined with oxygen and protons from water. All right, now let's look at what's happening with your protons. So protons again are delivered to the matrix by these carriers, right? And then they are pumped up. And the energy provided by electrons are used to pump the protons up through complex 1, 3, and 4. So then you have a bunch of protons here accumulating in the intramembranous space. All right, so again, the energy from the electrons as it passes down the chain is used to pump protons up against gradient into the intramembranous space. So now they're all piled up here, and then they will want to diffuse back down gradient. So then they can only diffuse back into the matrix by flowing through the complex number. Oh, come on, man, this freaking markers. Oh, that here. By flowing through complex number 5, like so. So here are your protons. Only re-enter the matrix by flowing through complex 5. Complex 5 is called your ATP synthase. Because what it does, it has an enzyme in there that will take ADP, so ADP plus PI, the energy provided by the Russian protons will be used to combine these two reactants into ATP. And that's how you make ATP. And this process of using protons to make ATP is called chemiosmosis. So the electron transport chain over here is needed to create the gradient of protons in the intramembranous space. And then chemiosmosis will use this gradient to form ATP. All right, so that is the electron transport chain, and chemiosmosis is also called oxidative phosphorylation, meaning that you phosphorylate ADP to ATP in the presence of oxygen. Okay, we'll pause there.